Hey, welcome back to New Day right here on TV3, waking up and feeling the sunshine. It is now time for our lifestyle segment, and we're talking about the all-important taking your woman for granted. Maybe not just your woman. Some men feel like they get taken for granted. But in particular, women are more emotional. They say men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So with us, a lot of things get to us a bit more. So how do you even know if your woman is being taken for granted if she doesn't speak up? We're going to be discussing that, Benny and I, with the help of one of our resident counselors, Coco Dumata. And I have to remind you that this segment is proudly brought to you by Lipton Tea, inspiration flowing from nature. Good morning.
Good morning, Amma.
Okay, so we were just having a bit of a discussion prior to this. And I mean, we're talking about whether taking your partner for granted, but I'm still maintaining is let's stick to taking your woman for granted, because I feel like women, we're more emotional. Even if we're doing the same thing to a man, is she more?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, how is a man supposed to realize if he's taking his woman for granted? Because a lot of times, I think the mistake, and as a woman, I make it, is we don't say it. We'll probably go and yabba to our friends and complain to everybody else. He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, I did this. So how is a man supposed to see, especially when there's not been a communication, which most women usually don't do?
Thank you so much, Amma. But before I delve into your question, I want to, as a man, I want to, push myself against the wall and say that every woman is of a value. Every woman is of a value. Why am I saying this? When we go down to the scriptures, we look at Genesis chapter 2:18 thereabout. God said, I will make for Adam a help meet. Not mate, meet. Therefore, a woman is supposed to be the answer to a problem a man has. If we should put it that way. You help me in time of need. You help me when I'm fixed up. You help me when I'm clothed up. You help me when the disaster is coming. All right? So on those premises, if you take a woman for granted, you will pay dearly as a man. I know people will not like this, but what it means is that if I try to take my woman for granted, that it means that I am doing it intentionally.
If you're doing it knowingly.
Right. Yes. All right, then it means that there's something that is making me do that. Let's get it right. But if it's happening that way, then it means that I have tried as much as possible, and you, the woman, you are not seeing it the way it's supposed to be, and then you are counter-reacting like you're talking to your friends and all that. Then it hit me back. Then I go like, all that I'm doing, aren't you seeing?
Exactly.
Aren't you seeing what else you want to do? So it means that you do not even now appreciate all the things I do. Then I recall back to be able to do things. So it is not as I will intentionally do, but something precipitates, something lure to that, for that thing to happen.
Let me tell you how I look at it. All right. Now, when you say you have taken me for granted,
that's right.
Yes.
All right. You've been in this situation, and like I find it incomprehensible, because to get to that point where you have to say you have taken me for granted,
that's right,
you yourself has witnessed
exactly
and accepted everything that has happened to this point, and now
exactly
you feel that it's wrong.
Exactly.
When a woman says you've taken me for granted, you've messed up my self-esteem. What the hell are you talking about? Self-esteem is yourself.
It's yourself.
So how the hell did I mess it up?
It means that there's somebody somewhere is not trying
You've
to match
given
up.
away your power.
Power?
Most women do that. I feel like let's look at society. Most women are nurturers. So in a relationship with your children, what generally happens is like, I guess most women put everything on the man. So if you're my man, I'm okay. So I feel like when they say you're my self-esteem, it's because they've given away that power, and it's a mistake most women make, because you feel your man is your
Adam.
You never give away your power in our society. It happens.
Even Amma, if you do give me that self-esteem, and I cherish it, and I manage it, and you don't see it, okay, and you don't see it, you start comparing, you start talking. Any conversation we will have, you try to bring in somebody else. What about us? Why do you talk to people outside? So the little that we are discussing, you don't appreciate, you don't like it. You see, that is what degenerates into that. So now when you realize that things are not working the way I want, then we go back to what Benny is saying. You have taken me for granted. You have taken. So you have witnessed it. All these while we're doing, you are not saying it. You are not doing anything about it.
Okay, let's actually then even break down. Let's just rewind and break down, you know, what is taken for granted, what some women feel. So essentially, is it not just appreciating what the woman does, or is there more
knocking down values? You knocking down values, not appreciating. You see, value is value. Solomon said something that it's so difficult to have a virtuous woman, and it's more than the price of the rubies. Do you know what it means? Solomon needs that. So if I do give you that value, that for me to end that journey of mine, I need a woman by me, then you should be able to meet me up.
There's been situations whereby people have misconstrued the whole concept of being taken advantage of or being taken for granted, and it's messed up the relationship. It's like you said, the comparison. If you're in a situation whereby 8 out of things that you would say essential are being done for you, and the 2 things that aren't being done for you are being done to somebody else, automatically you think that their lifestyle or their particular instance or their situation is better than yours. Then you start to make a comparison.
Exactly.
And you say, well, how come I don't get that? But hold up, you've got 8 out of 10, they've got 2. It's only because you don't have that 2 that you're causing this. And I think it's the communication and within the partners as well that this comes about. Now, when you go and air your issues out there, whether it be with friends, advisors, counselors, such as Kuku, you always have a 50-50 response. Either the thing you want to hear or the thing you don't want to hear.
It's true.
How you deal with it afterwards is, once again, up to you. So, if you're there and you realize, or you know, your friends have made you realize, oh, this person is taking advantage of, this person is taking you for granted, it's for you to analyze and actually see that, okay, well, that might be your opinion. However, in my circumstances, this is how it is. And so they haven't really taken advantage. They haven't, taken you for granted. It's your perception of not getting what you want at that point in time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm outnumbered
Today,
here. I'm the only
Good point.
woman here today.
Yes, maybe.
Okay, but let's look at how the makeup of most women. Most women we're just more emotional.
That's right.
Most men, their needs, I think, are usually very simple. They eat and then they eat. Whichever way
we don't just eat. We need affection,
That's what she's talking about. They're chopping and they're chopping.
They're chopping and they're chopping. But with women, not my words, Benny's words. But with most women, I feel like, for example, this is a friend. Even me, I've been in a situation where it's like all I want is a love letter. Write me a love letter, and most guys, I ain't got time for that.
Sure.
And not anything, but it's something that to me is so simple.
Yes.
But for most guys, they ain't got time to do that.
Yeah.
So how do you find the balance?
Okay.
And I think, we always say communication is key. But another thing is most women too will not speak directly to their man.
Yeah.
They feel like they should know.
Yes.
So how do you bridge the gap? If you feel like, okay, this is this little thing and I want, you're not doing it and stuff. How do you, without spoiling your relationship?
Yes. You see, there's a beauty in communication. There's a beauty for you to let me know what is inside you. That that then becomes even our secrets. You try to open up to me. There's that beauty. That is why at times we can take a walk, we can sit somewhere. We don't need to talk about people. We talk about ourselves. So that fine opportune time, you could look at it and say, Kweku, you know what? I get turned on when you write me a piece of letter of this nature.
That's kind of serious.
You know what is happening? Then it means that I'm trying to look at the effect, not just a mere writing of that letter. I'm trying to make you feel good. I'm trying to let you be who you are, value what you cherish. So when you go that way, and I also take it as that, I'll work at it. But then if I do receive it the way you said, it turns you on or makes you feel good. Don't trash it. I have taken my time, as Ben was saying, all this while trying to coin words, and then I hand that letter to you. Then here you are, you're on phone talking to somebody else, and you use your left to pick it up, and then you drop it.
Okay.
In front of me, seeing it. Now, looking at all that I've gone through and what you just said, and trying to make it work, you have downplayed the value. So let's communicate. Let's see that relationship, companionship we're talking about. If we do not really talk about what is inside us, what is of a value to us, we will lose all. And at the end of the day, we try to blame each other. Okay, and that is where you take me for granted. You don't do what I want. You should know what I want, and so everybody is anticipating that.
Comes the blame game.
Exactly, blame game. So, but you see, open up your secrets more or less becomes like open up your weaknesses. And if it's not properly, Benny, managed well, you will use it against me one time to come.
I told a girl I was broke once.
Yes.
She left me.
Yes. Broke. Just a mere that word. Broke. Hey, then wherein lies my future?
Shouldn't you be happy? I think a girl like that, who basically then is there for financial gain, I think you should be happy that she went.
No, I was. But you see, the thing was, prior to that...
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, this is what the scenario was. Okay, 1 second. We're building up the phone lines right now, so if you actually want to get in contact with us, our number is on the bottom of the screen. You can contribute to the conversation that we're having right now with Kweku in the studio. Now, check this out. So...
No, Benny, I really want to take you on about the lady who said...
This is what I'm about to say.
Yes.
So, I met this girl. She assumed I was well off.
Of course, you're on TV.
This is prior to the whole television thing, and she assumed I was well off. My house was okay. You know? I mean, so if you look at the surroundings, you think, yeah,
exactly.
Cool. Now there were a couple of points in time where I was meant to meet her for dinner or this, and I came up with so many excuses. I was like, you know what, I can't do it. Truth was, I was broke. Sure. So what happened later on was we met again. We had a really nice dinner, and I said, I've got something to tell you. Yeah. You know, the other time, blah, 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 I couldn't tell you this, but it was because I was broke. And there's me thinking that, you know, I've revealed myself. I'm in a better situation now, so I'm ready to, you know, go, you know, that's why we're here having dinner. That was the end of it. You see, the fact that I could even be broke was enough to just stop the whole...
But what was it that Benny was looking for?
But I bet she regrets it now, though, doesn't she?
She will.
I'm right.
She will. But what was it that Benny was looking for?
I revealed my weaknesses.
That I want you to top me up. Really, you are broke. Don't worry, I've got those 50. Not
even
that.
Okay, gentlemen, this is getting heated up. We have Samson from Takoradi on the line. Good morning, Samson. What is your contribution to this conversation?
My contribution.
Hi, Samson.
Hello.
I was one at a relationship, and my lady is now opening up to me as what he said. So my lady reached out, writing a letter, buying a teddy bear and all that kind of stuff. And it's not open up. I opened up to my lady. You know?
Samson, please, we can't hear you properly. So if you can kindly just lower the volume on your set so we can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Thank you. And then continue.
Sorry, Samson.
Samson, is he still there? I really want to hear what he was saying. I think I heard letters.
Yeah.
And I feel like...
Yeah.
Okay, what about... I think... We've spoken about the fact that men also feel maybe obviously taken for granted too. But let's look at, I think, some of the fallbacks. Sometimes when a woman is truly being taken for granted, meaning that she's a good woman, she'll stay with you when you don't have money.
Yeah.
And because there's some women, you know, Charlie, they do everything. But yet their men don't even appreciate, won't even compliment them. And yet they're outside running around with other people. In those situations, then, what should a woman do?
Just like yesterday, a woman told me this. That Mr. Timothy, I am dying in my marriage. Why? Here I am. My man do not reverend me. Everything that I do. Do not even say it. To the extent of, letting people come and not even let me feel that, or I am the woman of the house.
Wow.
You know what she told me? And this is the answer I'll give you. I said, Mata, I am not marrying. I am worshiping God in my marriage. You see the position? I don't want to go in too much to break down as a person, but I will still want to reverend God. Anything that happened, I take it for God's sake.
Wow.
Yeah, the same response. Wow.
All right. We have Vida on the line. Vida, good morning.
Good morning.
Please, what's your contribution?
You are talking about taking men for granted, right?
Yes.
I had a personal experience. I got married, and my husband would go out, take other ladies out, fill their gas for them, and then in the house, he will not do it. I complain, I talk to him, and then he's like, oh, I'm not like that. But that is the problem. He would rather give money to his friends, his female friends, but the house, he neglect the house. And that was a big problem. And based on this, the marriage is now dissolved.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right,
Then
thank
it
you
will come
for
to
that.
that point. It's not unfortunate. But,
Thank you, Vida.
But if you're a man in that position, then it means that you're not raising your head up.
Yeah.
It means as a head, the head is rotten.
I wouldn't call that man.
Call it. It's rotten.
Yeah.
And I can just imagine the agony this woman had gone through. All right? We are not trying to say that, okay, she ought to have done something. But hey, why would you go fill a gas for another woman and there's no
Not do it in
gas
your own house?
in your own
Yeah.
house? You know,
I think when
these
it
things
comes
is
to
a bit-
being
is a bit
taken for
difficult.
granted, there's a lot of perception involved. Because what will happen is that we can say that we're being taken for granted, but in other people's eyes, we're not. Now, when there is a general consensus that, and you find that everybody agrees that you are being taken for granted, I think at that point in time you need to do some introspection.
Seriously.
All right, we've got Benjamin on the line at the moment. Benjamin, good morning. Another guy. I like your name.
Good morning.
Morning, Benjamin. What's your question or contribution?
Auntie, Amma, good morning, and a resource. This morning, you are also becoming a resource person on the issue as well.
Thank you.
Yes, and Auntie Amma's face is always drawn with misgivings and problems that have to do with relationships. I hope she pulls through one day. I believe also that temperament also counts in this matter. Some women and some men, they have different temperament, and it always makes one feel that one is being taken for granted and so on and so forth. I believe that if God does not really put two introverts together, God will not put two introverts. A man is an introvert, the woman is an introvert. God will never do that unless that marriage or that relationship is not from God. But if the man and the woman force themselves into it, then we could find that problem existing in the relationship. So I believe strongly that the man can do about 80%, the woman can do about 70%, and they can coexist in that relationship and then make life. Otherwise, you, Mr. Blanco, and the resource man will always come on the television to talk about these things, and there's not going to be any solution. And let me also add this. There are a lot of relationships, maybe people will not agree with me, there are a lot of relationships that God is not in those relationships.
That's right.
And if God is not in relationships, it's going to suffer for the rest of their life. That is true. Thank you very much.
All right, please stay on the line, okay? We're going to have somebody from our control room have a word with you. We're probably going to get in touch with you very soon. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Well, okay, that's a good point.
A good point.
Yeah, temperament.
This is something I hear a lot of the young guys saying today. A lot of the young guys that, who are not married, they're looking to maybe settle down, is they think a lot of the women in Ghana, we even had this discussion right in our studio the other day, are too demanding. So in the sense of you're maybe a young guy, you have your job, you're trying to fend for yourself, maybe find small to take care of your girl. But yet she says, well, I want Brazilian hair, and I want a mobile phone. I want this, I want this. So in situations like that, if you're a young man, where you're trying to make your life, where you do a good thing with your life. However, you have a woman who is demanding, and yet she's obviously taking you for granted because she doesn't appreciate the little you're doing. So maybe you can only give her a taxi. But she said, Amy, I want a car. But you don't even have a car for yourself. How then does the man, I guess, communicate with that woman, about...
Run. Run.
You see
Run.
in Proverbs 19:14, it talks about prudent wife. Now, it comes from God. So that woman must be godly. That woman must speak godlike. Why am I saying this? You should be able to let me know that for me to come into your life, I am going to add a plus to what you have. Okay? I am going to multiply. I'm going to grow you. We're going to move along. I'll be there in that time of difficulty. Not this time for you to say you need some kind of Brazilian hair. Not this time you start demanding. Now, then you tell me that you are for today and you're not for tomorrow. When it happens like that, quickly the man in question open your eyes. As the man said, okay, there are relationships there's no God in it. And if there's no God in it, no matter what you do, it won't survive.
But let's be honest. Most people's relationship in this day and age, they don't think of God first.
That is a problem, Mama. That is a problem.
Let's be honest.
We want today, we want the world, we want, just like Benny,
Because we don't
the
meet
guy.
our partners in church. We meet them outside.
In a
Good,
other
and then we
places.
drag them in there.
If you meet your girlfriend in a club and she ends up being your future wife, just know that your marriage was ordained by the nightclub.
Seriously.
Today,
Seriously, that's a premises.
Benny.
That is a premises. And you see, I always say that the genesis of
I'm
how we
checking
met,
Benny.
the beginnings and the genesis of where we met, how we met,
makes
feed
difference.
into who we are.
You know what you were saying, Amma, with people who make demands. I mean, this is both for male and female. You find that people who make demands, when they don't get what they want, will seek for those demands elsewhere.
Outside.
Because they are
Elsewhere.
demands. They're not requests.
Request.
They're not this thing. So they're required part. I don't know if I've been watching this guy recently because he kills me. Arsenio Hall. Every evening
yes,
I watch
yes.
Arsenio Hall. And he's got this little clip where it's got this this black woman who's attacking her husband who's white. Now, her main thing is, she says, is that I married a white man because I did not want to be broke. Now, this guy sits standing there and he's like, okay.
Clearly, he's a white
Because-
man who's gone broke.
Yeah, right,
Now-
right.
It's thresholds. I want to
Yeah.
bring this to threshold because this is what I'm feeding into. It all depends on what you're ready to deal with.
Exactly.
You see what the guy was saying about temperament. If you have that kind of temperament or threshold where it's very short, if somebody comes to you and says, I want this, you say, please back off. And they say, I want this, please back off. You say, I want this in black. Look.
Yeah.
And it turns into something
That's
else. Some people have thresholds whereby you can bug them, harass them. They'll be like, okay, yeah, tomorrow.
Okay.
And it would never make an issue. So I think it's, like I said again, introspection. We need to know the people that we are with.
Very
we
important.
need to know the people that we want to step forward with. Otherwise, if you accept things at the beginning of your relationship, those would be the foundations and the stepping stones of what your relationship will be like going forward.
I think that's a good point. Okay, before we wrap up on this topic, the woman that came on the phone earlier about how her marriage broke down because he
Yes.
obviously
Yes.
systematically and always took her for granted.
Granted.
If you're in a situation, especially whether it's a marriage or like a serious relationship,
Yes.
where it's not because you want Brazilian hair, you
Yes,
are being
yes.
truly taken for granted.
Exactly.
What advice do you give the woman? Should she just walk away, or
No.
should she? What is the steps to maintain a
No.
healthy relationship?
You
in that
see,
sense?
you've seen, you've heard, but get facts about what you've seen, you've heard. And then you set the man down.
Okay.
All right. You see, it's the how. You have to do it tactfully, strategically. Because men as we are, when the truth is hit us, we just want to defend. Okay? We just want to back out. We just want to be wow and then defend it. But that is where you are a woman. You have that God gift to tame. All right? So get that situation right. Get the atmosphere right. And then don't
say it's an argument.
Exactly. Don't say in more or less accusing, but say it in
Realization.
that
Are you
probably
aware?
can even tilt it towards you. That I realize the problem, I'm not doing too much more. And this time doing more outside, please look inside. You see, you have to be tactful. Not accusing. Some will go straight accusing and the whole thing.
In
will
our
be there.
society, a lot of times, especially in marriage, when situations do get like that, where it's consistent,
Yes, ma'am.
most of us will get a busia penny, we'll get somebody to come in and sit down. Do you advise that? Or do you advise, not a busia penny, maybe a pastor, or
Interim.
interim? Do you
Interim.
advise that if it's gotten to that point?
Interim. But
Okay.
the two of us, we must be able to solve it. You see why? The one coming in had no basis. He's just looking at what we just discussed and trying to put two together. But you and I know exactly where it started. So the two of us can still sit down. But you see, sitting down and opening the past and correcting it is a bit difficult. That is why we try to get. If you call me to sit in, I'll just look at Benny. What do you say? What do you say? Then I try to see a good
without
way.
any bias.
But the root has not been touched.
Wow.
Well, I mean, we're hearing the fact that there's now more divorces going through.
Yeah,
Too bad.
Than land cases.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad. And it's hardened my heart. I think God is not happy somewhere. Well, he is.
We want to say thank you once again for helping us discuss a very important issue within relationships, and hopefully you've been helped out there as well. This segment is brought to you by Lipton Tea, inspiration flowing from nature. And trust me, if you actually turn the channel, then you'll be taking us for granted.
That's right.